Hello, Dr. Gerson. This is Balisarian, and this is my sprint. What sprint are we on? 6 video. So this week, my contributions were basically taking whatever Aaron and Wyatt did on the back end and styling and implementing it onto the front end. So let's see, so I contributed to create account. So basically, we discussed this past sprint what features we wanted to weed out in favor of time and just what we think would be practical for the last 2 sprints after this one. So we took out the ability to add images, just because it was proving to be pretty difficult in terms of getting it onto a database. I'm going to continue to do some research on it, but for right now I took it off of the screens just to keep things a little bit cleaner. And then, so I cleaned up the components, the custom components I made for our team list. So now Aaron made it so that it could list multiple teams, and now basically I made it so that all of the text, for example, for the description wasn't going off screen. It was able to summarize and keep it to one line. I made it so that the status would become green when it is the word active, and then I plan to make sure that it will be red when it says inactive. And then for create team, I also took out the picture ability and then added this search radius to be numbers. And before we had another screen where it would ask you what you want the radius to be, and then it would show you a map, and in theory you'd be able to interact with the map and draw out what area you want to be searched. But in favor of time, we're going to cut that out and just simply put it to area to cover. And then here I added the ability to pull from the database and basically retrieve information about the current user that's logged in. So you would log in, and then you could go to your team information, or basically, in theory, you would go to your team list, click on a team. Right now we don't have the navigation set up, but you click on that team, and then it would pull that team's information using the team ID, and then it would pull up all of this. So these would be able to be that, and then you can press on alerts, and we don't have alerts set up quite yet, but that's the plan. And then team member list isn't set up, but we have, let's see, settings. So this is basically user information / settings, and at this point we don't have it to be able to edit the user settings. But I added the ability to, when you press on, for example, the email, it would open the email app, which I don't have installed on my phone. But if you wanted to text the number, because basically in our original design, we had wanted to incorporate some sort of messaging system inside of the app. But for sake of time and the fact that you're using a cell phone, which already has text messaging, there's no reason to have an in-app messaging. So we figured we'd just divert them to text messages. So now when you click on the message, click on that, and then for some reason it doesn't work on the first try, but the second try it works, and you can immediately text that person. So those are my contributions for this week. Oh, and also I was able to get my Visual Studios and my app connected to the database. So for example, we have example or test user, and then password, and you can see it brings you to the team list, so that means you're signed in, and you can look at your user information. So this is test user, and this is all the information I entered for that test user. Muting my mic. Okay, here we go. One more time. So these are all my GitHub check-ins, as you can see. Today I was merging Dev into my branch with all of the other, everybody else's contributions to this sprint. So you can see my check-ins here. I did team list styling, where I was editing or adjusting the team component, the one that I created to list all the teams out. And basically I was just making sure that I didn't, it would show a summary of the description and it wouldn't overrun, the text wouldn't be going all over the screen. I was editing the team information page, the team list page, making so that it would display properly. And this sprint I plan to add a navigation so that when you click on the sprint or the team, it'll bring you to the team information page and be able to get that team's ID when you click it. So that's one commit. And then I also did user settings. So this is basically showing a user's information. And as I showed in the live demo, I added this ability to be able to text. So at first I had it to be able to call, then I added it or changed it to be SMS. So instead of teleprompt, it would be text message. And then I also added the email ability and just editing the styling of that and added a new styling information. And then I did team information, so taking the information from the database, changing the team ID. So right now you have to manually change it, but we plan to add the ability to automatically draw a team ID when you click on it. But basically changing the styling for this, cleaning it up, taking out some old things, and adjusting how it draws the team, and then more user setting stuff, and created user functionality on the screen, etc. And then my commits go back to basically the 22nd, when I was still trying to get an image uploader working. At this point, it doesn't look super hopeful, but I'm still going to work on it a little bit this sprint just to see if something can come of it. So my work this sprint was meant to be styling with database data, as I did, taking backend and implementing styling onto it. This sprint, I am assigned to editing the team member list and the team member profile styling. So basically, again, further taking backend and implementing it in the front end. And then I hope to help Cecilia with authentication context as well, maybe using Apollo GraphQL. And yeah, so that's my sprint.